Now, breaking news from WRAL. Coverage you can count on.
Attacked in their own home, 3 family members stabbed to death. Who police have in custody now and why neighbors have nothing further to fear.
Also destroyed by flames. One person is dead after an early morning fire at a home. What the family says they heard moments before the fire.
And it's melting time. We have blue sky, the sun shining, really helping to melt the snow out there. I'll show you how warm the temperatures climb over the weekend coming up.
We have breaking news we're following out of Fayetteville where police tell us 3 people have been stabbed to death. This happened at a home on Belle Arthur Lane early this morning.
Police wrapped up a news conference about this just within the last half hour. Michelle McConaughey is in the WRAL Live Center with what we've learned so far.
Yeah, there's a lot to go over here. We just heard from Chief of Police Kem Braden, and as you mentioned, this happened on Bellevue Lane. That's in the Cape Fear Crossing subdivision. This is a live look from Sky 5 at the scene right now. This is what we know. The stabbing happened at the home here that Sky 5 is over. Someone in that home called police officers. When they arrived there, found 3 people suffering from stab wounds, 2 juveniles and an elderly adult female. 3 people have died. Those 3 people have died. An adult male suspect was taken into custody. Chief Braden said that there is no threat to the community right now, but he did reveal that all are known to each other, all lived inside this home. He said he will not be releasing any additional information about those juvenile suspects yet. It's unclear the specific relationships of the victims, but he also said that they are family related. There were also multiple people inside the home, including survivors who witnessed this stabbing. It is too early for charges. Police are trying to figure out what happened here. But of course, this all happening at 9 o'clock this morning. This is still a very active scene. So we're going to stay on top of this and bring you the latest developments from the Live Center.
All right, Michelle, thanks for this. Also, I wanted you to take a look at Western Boulevard right here behind us. This is amazing, the difference between yesterday and today. The streets, the sunshine is our friend here. It's doing its job to melt the snow in our area.
Yeah, so nice to see clear pavement out there. Meteorologist Amy Wilmoth is in the WRAL Severe Weather Center with a look at how much sun we will see. Amy.
Well, it'll be nice this weekend. So we have sunshine today. Tomorrow we'll have a mix of sun and clouds. We'll still do melting tomorrow. And then Sunday we're back to mostly sunny skies. So it's a dry weekend, a weekend that will continue the melting, and the temperatures will help as well. Not really overnight tonight. We're going to get down to about 19 tonight, so it is going to be a cold start to your Saturday. But look at how temperatures warm up Sunday afternoon. We're back to normal. 57 for the high temperature Sunday afternoon, which will help to melt any lingering snow or ice out there. So hour by hour Saturday morning. Prepare for the cold in the morning, but then it does get a little bit milder in the afternoon. Still pretty cold at lunchtime, 39. The high just 49 tomorrow afternoon with a mix of sun and clouds. We'll have more clouds the second half of the day. And then Sunday gets here and temperatures start to get back to normal. It's a day that's filled with sunshine. Another cold start, not in the teens, but in the 20s. 28 for the low, but 57 for the high temperature on Sunday afternoon. So definitely doing a lot of melting over the weekend. We've done a lot here in Cary. Look at the snow really melting here in downtown Cary. I'll have more on when we can expect our next round of rain coming up in just a little bit.
We have new information this noon on a fire on Easton Street in Holly Springs. Sky 5 flew over that scene just a short time ago. That home was destroyed. This is just off 55 near Ting Park. 5 people managed to get out safely, but 1 person died inside. That person has been identified as 75-year-old Frankie Richardson. Family members say they heard a loud explosion and smoke alarms. Fire crews arrived at that home, 5600 block of Easton Street, just before 4 o'clock this morning, and they found that home engulfed in flames. That home, as you see there, destroyed.
The report of an occupant trapped, crews advanced an attack line and searched. It was coordinated. They were unable to locate the victim. And eventually he was found on a continued search in an addition off to the left side of the house.
The American Red Cross is helping that family with housing. 1 firefighter was treated for minor injuries. The cause of the fire is under investigation. Crews in Charlotte, meantime, are also investigating a fire that happened at a mobile home shortly after 4 o'clock this morning. Medics say 3 people were taken to a local hospital, 2 with serious injuries. 3 others refused treatment. The cause of the fire is unknown.
New numbers this week show 75 more people have died from the flu in North Carolina. WRAL's Chris Lovingood is here now with a closer look at the numbers. Chris.
Yeah, let's break them down, Renee. I mean, a total of 246 flu deaths have happened this flu season in our state. That's up 30% from the total that we had last week. Now, sadly, 2 children have died this flu season, but no additional pediatric deaths were reported this week. ER visits from people with flu symptoms are down a lot from last week. However, compared to the past 2 years, well, many more patients have gone to the ER for flu. In fact, nearly 10% of all emergency department visits were for flu symptoms. Now, every week, the state releases flu numbers, and when they drop, we'll report them right here on WRAL News.
Chris, thanks. Bird flu has been detected in a great horned owl in Cary. North Carolina Wildlife says it is the first case in Wake County since 2023. The owl, along with a hawk and several geese, were found dead in Cary and then tested. Results are still being brought in on the other birds, but NC Wildlife's game birds and wildlife supervisor says this is the time of year when bird flu is typically found in our area.
A lot of our bird populations have not seen this virus before and have little resistance to it, so they can actually carry it and not show the disease, which allows transmission to other birds during the winter months, in particular when they migrate together and congregate together.
And CDC says transmission to humans is very rare.
No arrests yet after another Durham teenager was seriously injured in a shooting. Police say it happened on Courtney Creek Boulevard. WRAL's Monica Casey is live now at that location. Monica, what have we learned so far?
Renee, we know that 17-year-old boy has life-threatening injuries. He was taken to the hospital in a private vehicle after that shooting happened. Neighbors here tell me it happened at the Encore at the Park Apartments. Take a look at your screen. A resident here sent us this photo. He says a bullet went through his balcony door, landing in his kitchen. Durham police tell us they responded to this area around 3 o'clock yesterday afternoon for a call for a disturbance with a weapon. When they got here, they found shell casings in front of a building. This apartment complex was quiet today. No signs of any remaining crime scene. Now, Durham police tell us this shooting is still under investigation. No arrests at this time. We do know that 17-year-old shot marks the 6th juvenile shot in Durham this year. Live in Durham, Monica Casey, WRAL News.
America's economic mood is now souring. A new survey released today showed U.S. consumer sentiment declined in February for the second consecutive month. Consumer sentiment was down 10% from January, driven by worries that President Trump's tariffs will hike up prices. 62% of American adults nationwide said they feel Trump isn't doing enough to address inflation. Dozens of migrants being held at Guantanamo Bay have been released. 177 out of 178 were sent to Honduras, while one was sent to detention in the U.S. Officials say 51 detainees had no criminal records other than being in the U.S. illegally. 126 had criminal records. Honduras Foreign Ministry announced the country that had accepted a flight of Venezuelan immigrants from the U.S. who would immediately send them to Venezuela.
Major U.S. airlines are challenging part of a new rule making airlines responsible for damaged or lost wheelchairs, scooters, and walkers. An airline trade group and 5 airlines claim the Transportation Department exceeded its authority by putting those requirements in place. The airlines want it overturned, saying that some situations like turbulence damaging a wheelchair are beyond their control. Leaders and members of the Proud Boys and the Oath Keepers plan to return to Capitol Hill today. The groups plan to hold what they describe as a press conference. During a live interview on Steve Bannon's podcast, the leaders say they plan to discuss their future. 2 Proud Boys leaders, as well as the leader of the Oath Keepers, were convicted of seditious conspiracy for their roles in the January 6th riot. President Trump commuted their sentence on his first day back in office. Next at noon, Park Service pink slips, how hundreds of layoffs may affect our national treasures.
Also, access denied, but why? Understanding how tech platforms turn away users and if it's legal.
Plus, school on a Saturday, how the recent snow has led Wake schools to reschedule classes on the weekend.
Keep watching WRAL News over the air Channel 34 and Spectrum Channel 1257.
All right, just about 10 after 12 right here on your Friday afternoon. How about an early quit, head to the beach? I don't know if it's a beach day. It's pretty cold. It looks beautiful, but those temps are still hurting us just a little bit right now. But at least there's not snow covering the beach like we have seen as you look live and watch WRAL Carolina Beach there. Available on Hulu and the WRAL app on your TV or streaming device. The race for Florida governor is more than a year away, but President Trump is already throwing his endorsement behind a candidate. Trump says he will offer his complete and total endorsement to Florida Representative Byron Donalds. However, Donalds has not announced his plans. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis can't run again in 2026. DeSantis is unlikely to support Donalds after he endorsed Trump in the presidential primary instead of DeSantis.
A Chicago man is free after spending nearly 30 years in prison. Robert Johnson was only 16 years old when he was convicted of killing a man in 1996. What exonerated him of the crime was not DNA. Instead, witnesses came forward and implicated another person in the murder, and that person has died.
I've been in here 28 years of my life, and it wasn't nothing I can do about it. I tried. I screamed. Wouldn't nobody listen to me. And I just want the world to know that there are people, there's still people here in prison, in the Cook County Jail, for things they didn't, for crimes that they didn't commit.
Johnson's conviction was based on the testimony of one person who was a juvenile at the time. The state of Illinois has the option to retry him, but Johnson's attorneys say they don't think prosecutors have enough evidence.
There's a bit of chaos and confusion that is happening right now in the Park Service as we tell you about the National Park Service and the Trump administration laying off hundreds of employees ahead of the busy park season. Morgan Chesky spoke with those workers about the impact the move will have on the workers and the visitors.
From Half Dome to Old Faithful and as far as Gettysburg, growing concerns at national parks after roughly 1,000 federal park employees were laid off. In Yosemite, that means less staff to handle crowds who came to see the iconic firefall during a busy holiday week.
I really felt like my world was taken out from underneath me.
Oleg Chimura blindsided by his termination later Friday.
I spent a lot of time squeegeeing the toilets, the bathroom floors out. So after one day of me not being there, it's already pretty visually disgusting.
The abrupt dismissal of probationary park employees sending shockwaves coast to coast. Stacey Ramsey lost her dream job as a ranger at Arkansas's Buffalo National River.
It was so sudden and swift. Didn't have time to prepare myself at all for it. So that made it even more difficult.
Here in Yosemite, with uncertainty mounting over staffing levels, officials have already put summer reservations on pause for several popular campgrounds, putting the park's peak summer travel season in potential jeopardy. NBC News spoke with more than a dozen current and former Park Service employees who warned visitors should expect significant impacts due to reduced staffing, from upkeep of trails, campgrounds, and restrooms to longer lines and wait times, and even safety concerns.
I'm the only person available to rescue someone, to do CPR, to carry them out from a trail if they got injured.
Near Yosemite, Alex Wild was the only certified EMT ranger at Devil's Postpile National Monument.
If you're no longer at the park and an emergency happens, then what?
Maybe a local county fire department or search and rescue team could respond, and it would take hours. I mean, it could mean life or death for someone who's having an emergency.
That was Morgan Chesky reporting. Those terminations are reaching offices in the western North Carolina mountains as well, like Veterans Affairs, Blue Ridge Parkway, and the Pisgah National Forest. The Parkway could have more backups if staffing can't continue to work on affected areas of the road after Helene. Members of the American Federation of Government Employees holding a protest at this hour outside the federal complex in downtown Asheville.
We have beautiful sunshine out there for our Friday afternoon. The snow out there still clinging on in some places, but that's going to start to melt, right, Amy?
That's right. We're starting to see the melting take place today. I know that's kind of a bummer for the kids that are wanting to get out and sled, but you still have some time today. There's still a little bit of snow. You can see that on some of our cameras. This is a live look at Apex. Really, most of the snow gone here in downtown Apex, but still some snow here in the gardens at the TV studios in Raleigh. You can see the snow on the grass there. There's also still a little bit of snow in the grass at Dix Park as well. But beautiful blue sky, lots of sunshine, really going to help melt things through the day today. And what doesn't melt today, it will melt over the weekend, no doubt. 37 the current temperature in Raleigh right now. The wind chill is 30, so it feels colder when you factor in that breeze. It feels like 28 in Roxborough, 29 in South Hill, feels like 32 right now in Fayetteville. Hour by hour today, we'll continue to melt some of that snow and ice, but it's still chilly, 42 for the high, and our normal is 57, so we're well below normal still. And if you're headed out tonight, just make sure you bundle up. It's going to be very cold. We'll be back down in the 20s by 9 o'clock. And temperatures tonight will dip down into the teens. So it's going to be a very cold start to your Saturday. 19 tonight in Raleigh, 18 in Durham, 16 in Rocky Mount, 19 in Southern Pines. We have quiet weather for the upcoming weekend, though. High pressure is going to move in from the west. And with high pressure systems, we have sinking air, very quiet weather. And that will be the case for the next several days. We don't have anything in the forecast as far as precipitation goes until Thursday. And that's rain. It's not going to be snow this go round. Partly cloudy Saturday, still chilly, with a high temperature of 49. So it's still going to be a cool day, but a little bit milder compared to today. We really make some progress on Sunday with our temperatures. We're back to normal. Lots of sunshine with a high of 57. So we'll start that warming process Sunday, and then we'll continue it as we kick off another work week. Monday, we're likely in the 60s for highs. As we head into Tuesday, we could get up to 70 Tuesday afternoon. It's still going to be very nice on Wednesday with highs in the 60s. Thursday is still mild, but we're tracking a front that arrives late Thursday into Friday, and that's going to bring our next round of rain and perhaps some cooler temperatures behind the front. Definitely chilly today, 42 for the high. As I mentioned, 57 is the normal, so we're below that today and tomorrow, but we're right on track for normal on Sunday, 57 for the high, Monday, 64, and then spring-like weather by Tuesday, 70 for the high temperature Tuesday. So if you are tired of the cold temperatures, we get a warm up as we head into next week. But it might be brief. We have that next front that arrives Thursday into Friday, and signs point to below normal temperatures for the first week of March. So temperatures could be below normal as we kick off the month of March. Winter is not over just yet, and it's definitely going to feel like winter tonight. We'll get down into the teens tonight. Cold start to your weekend. 49 Saturday, but it's a good day to get outdoors. It'll be dry. Definitely a great day Sunday, mostly sunny, 57, a great day to get some fresh air. And then spring-like weather as we head into next week. Our next chance for rain is Thursday. In the next half hour, we're going to talk snow totals this year and how that compares to normal.
Amy, thanks. So where does it go? Our state poured over 300,000 tons of brine on the roads. Today on WRAL News at 4, the impact the solution has on our local waterways after the winter storm.
And is flood insurance needed? Today on WRAL News at 6, 5 on Your Side investigates the cost and how it could have made a difference for hundreds of homeowners in western North Carolina after Helene. Plus, still ahead this noon, IRS inquiries. Thousands of workers laid off in the latest round of cuts by the Trump administration. Why the latest move could affect calls about forms, extensions, and refunds.
And tech tariff. President Trump's policies could spell trouble for Apple. How one tech giant hopes to avoid getting caught in a trade war between the U.S. and China.
The WRAL Live Center, we have a health update on Pope Francis. Doctors say that his condition is not life-threatening, but he is not out of the woods just yet. He's been in the hospital for a week. He was admitted last Friday for pneumonia on top of chronic bronchitis. Doctors say that he will remain hospitalized at least all of next week. He is also responding to drug therapy for pneumonia and receiving the occasional supplemental oxygen as well.
The Trump administration is laying off nearly 7,000 IRS workers in the middle of tax filing season. Supporters like the cost-cutting efforts, but critics say the terminations could delay tax refunds. Amy Kiley explains the effort is being led by Trump's biggest campaign donor, Elon Musk.
His goal is to abolish the Internal Revenue Service.
They say nothing is certain except death and taxes, but it might not feel that way at the IRS today. The agency is reeling after firing more than 6,000 workers yesterday. A source familiar with the cuts says they're mainly aimed at probationary workers. Many of them are part of a Biden administration effort to ramp up audit rates of wealthy taxpayers and large corporations.
Going after the Internal Revenue Service and firing people just ahead of tax season. It's crazy.
The timing is setting off alarm bells. Most individuals have to file their taxes by April 15th. The National Treasury Employee Union says the terminations could affect that process.
I feel like a grenade is being used when a scalpel would be appropriate.
The union says the firings could reduce customer service availability for filers who need help. Some accountants and IRS workers also warn refund checks could be late this year.
There's going to be even less workers here now, stuff's going to take even longer.
The Trump administration has a different take. In a Fox News interview, the Commerce Secretary argues the IRS cuts are part of President Donald Trump's economic plan.
We mean great, as in no deficit, and basically try to eliminate the Internal Revenue Service and our taxes.
That was Amy Kiley reporting. The firings include revenue agents, customer service workers, and specialists who hear appeals of tax disputes. The terminations affect employees across all 50 states.
Apple CEO Tim Cook hopes to avoid being caught in the middle of a trade war between the U.S. and China. Cook hopes to protect his company from the president's 10% tariff on goods from China shipped to the U.S. China is Apple's biggest manufacturing hub, while the U.S. is the company's biggest market. In 2019, during Trump's first term, Cook successfully secured iPhone tariff exemptions, but the president has signaled a shift away from those accommodations. The Federal Trade Commission has launched a public inquiry to understand how tech platforms deny access to users. If denial is based on speech or affiliations, it may violate the law. The FTC points out that some platforms cut users off without giving them an ability to appeal the action. Anyone who this has happened to is encouraged to submit a report to the FTC by May 21st.
We continue to follow this breaking news in Fayetteville. 3 family members are found stabbed to death in their home. What we have learned about the person in custody with a live report coming up.
And spring break shortened. Wake County students got 3 days off this week because of the winter weather. Now we know when they'll have to make up that time. And here's a look at the winning lottery numbers.
Now, breaking news from WRAL. Coverage you can count on.
We have breaking news in Fayetteville, where police tell us 3 people have been stabbed to death. This happened at a home on Belle Arthur Lane this morning.
And we continue to get details minute by minute. WRAL's Sean Gallagher is live in the neighborhood with what he has learned about the victims and the person in custody. Sean.
Yeah, still a very active scene that you can see here behind me. Police have been out here since about 9 a.m. this morning, and they have this entire block of Belle Arthur taped off right now, really focused on that house that is second in on the right that you can see on your video here. Very large garage, very large house that it's connected to. And I was talking to a neighbor who lives inside the tape here. She says that a large family moved into this home recently, but says they were really quiet, kept to themselves. Now, this is what we know right now. Police were called here from someone inside the house around 9 a.m. They found multiple victims with critical injuries. 3 people died here at the scene. That's 2 juvenile victims and an older woman. Plus, an adult male suspect was taken into custody. Here's what Fayetteville Police Chief Kem Braden had to say about how everyone involved knew each other.
They all reside in the home. I don't know the exact relationships of each and every of the parties involved at this time, but they all do reside in the home. It appears that they're potentially related.
Is it a group home kind of thing, or do we know?
It's all family related.
Were there any individuals that survived or hospitalized that witnessed the stabbing?
Yes, there were multiple people inside the residence at the time. There were survivors and witnesses to the incident.
Now you hear that, survivors and witnesses to this inside the home where 3 people were killed. So a lot more information that we're going to wait to get, especially on that adult male suspect. The Fayetteville police chief says they will likely have an update with more information about this whole situation later this afternoon. But for now in Fayetteville, Sean Gallagher, WRAL News.
Sean, thank you. The sun is shining today and melting will continue through the weekend.
And meteorologist Amy Wilmoth is in the WRAL Severe Weather Center, the hour-by-hour forecast for Saturday and Sunday.
That's right. Yeah, we're going to have some great weather over the weekend, although it will be cold on Saturday. But a good day to be outdoors both days, although it will be cold in the morning with temperatures in the teens. We'll climb into the upper 40s in the afternoon. Sunday, I think, is a better day to get outdoors because temperatures are going to be even milder. So here's a look at the temperatures. 49 for the high on Saturday, 57 for the high temperature on Sunday. So Saturday, it's a cold start. We'll be in the teens. It stays chilly all day, a high of 49. Sunday will start off in the 20s, but it will be milder in the afternoon with highs in the upper 50s. I'll show you when we could hit 70 degrees coming up in just a little bit.
Amy, thank you. The winter storm kept hospitals very busy. Duke University Hospital reports 3 times more patients than it normally sees. Patients were being treated for injuries from car crashes. EMS leaders believe the number of patients will go up, especially because of people slipping and falling.
Maybe it looks like it's not slippery and they go for a walk and they try to do something or decide to go shopping and they miss that spot that hasn't had the sun or has frozen over the night before.
The last 2 days, the total number of people coming into emergency departments at Duke and UNC Health Rex has been down from normal. And that's a sign people were waiting for roads to improve before they come in.
Wake County schools are closed. It's the 3rd day in a row for that, and students will now need a makeup day to meet their required instructional hours. WRAL's Brett Neese explains now some students will need to go to class next Saturday to make up that time.
The cold temperature is perhaps the bigger factor today. It would be dangerous for kids to be waiting out at a school bus stop this morning, and those icy roads are still also playing a big role in this decision to cancel schools. So it is another cancellation for schools across the county for both students and staff. They'll have to come back to make up that extra day. For some, it means a shorter spring break or coming in on a Saturday. Today is the 3rd straight day Wake County's canceled school. Previous winter weather and some maintenance issues throughout the school year have caused the district to cancel classes multiple times already this year. One parent says that the district made the right decisions this week. Another says she questions previous moves to shut down schools.
I think that they need to be wiser about the decisions that they make when they do close schools.
It's just not worth the risk of one bus sliding on a back road or one child getting hurt.
We know other districts have opted for remote learning to avoid having to make changes to their school calendars. However, Wake County's current policy is to use all extra time and work days before they take that step. We have a full breakdown on all of the scheduled makeup days across the different calendar tracks in Wake County on our website, WRAL.com. In Raleigh, Brett Neese, WRAL News.
Today, the U.S. Supreme Court ruled that a group of Holocaust victims may not sue Hungary in American courts to recover property stolen during World War II. In this case, the survivors claimed that the artwork, jewelry, and other possessions stripped from Hungarian Jews during the Holocaust was sold. They say the proceeds wound up within the U.S. through the course of its trade with Hungary. Meanwhile, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky now appears to be open to discussing a deal with President Trump in exchange for U.S. support. Trump is demanding Ukraine hand over 50% of its mineral rights. Zelensky laid out what he expects in return, calling for a reliable and clear system of security guarantees that ensure long-term protection from Russia.
Storm scam alert, how online scammers are exploiting those who want to help in the recovery of Western North Carolina.
Plus, custom couture, why this beautiful dress worn by actress Lily Gladstone at the Oscars is headed to the Smithsonian. Remember, you can watch WRAL News live anytime on WRAL.com or on the WRAL app on your streaming device.
Our Teacher of the Week has a special place in her heart for students with intellectual disabilities.
WRAL's Ken Smith is at Durant Road Middle School to surprise a special education teacher dedicated to making sure her students can thrive.
All right, so we're going to do a sneak peek. Okay, this is our new unique group.
For Pamela Hogue, being a special education teacher isn't just a profession.
What do you see in this picture, Jalen?
Hers is a personal journey she's been on for 24 years.
I've been around people with special needs my whole life. I have an older brother on the spectrum, but I think my why is him as far as including our students into the community, into the school. Okay, Davis?
Yeah.
All right, you ready to start?
Hogue's life lessons for her students go beyond the classroom, making sure her students can function in an inclusive school environment and community.
Just seeing the growth that our students make, whether it's feeding themselves or doing a multiplication table. And being included, I think, is one of the biggest things that has kept me going. All right, let's see if we can find a plate.
Each success story for Hogue doesn't just keep her going, but also ensures her students are prepared for a world that is increasingly accepting of people with intellectual disabilities.
You might work a week, a month on a particular skill, and once they get it, you just clap and are just so generally excited.
Miss Hogue, you are WRAL's Teacher of the Week. Congratulations. Ken Smith, WRAL News.
If you'd like to nominate a teacher, go to WRAL.com and enter Teacher of the Week in the search box.
Scammed Good Samaritan. He helped victims of Hurricane Helene rebuild and lost nearly $80,000. 5 on your side's Keely Arthur uncovers how crooks target storm survivors and how you can avoid becoming a victim. A Western North Carolina man hailed as a hometown hero after spending months helping his neighbors recover from Hurricane Helene is now facing a devastating setback.
He is out nearly $80,000 after being targeted by an online scam. 5 on your side's Keely Arthur explains how scammers are exploiting the chaos left behind by the storm.
Few embody the spirit of selflessness more than Jake Jarvis.
Where am I talking to you from?
In the river in Batcave.
Jarvis, the owner of Precision Grading, has spent the last 5 months clearing roads, building bridges, and repairing homes in Henderson County.
FEMA and everybody, they're working on the roads and the main rivers, but they're not doing a whole lot for the small, homeowners.
He's now helped more than 100 families. The cost of his services? Nothing.
You're amazing.
Well, I'm just doing what I feel like is the right thing to do.
The right thing, but not the easy thing. Jarvis hasn't taken a salary since the day Hurricane Helene hit. He continues to pay his 5-person staff and estimates the daily cost of operations to be around $3,500. All of it funded by donations.
And unfortunately, that I have noticed that the donations are starting to slack off, because it's getting to be old news. Scary. There's still so much to do down here.
Now the man who gave so much is facing a cruel twist. Hoping to do more for the recovery, Jarvis headed to Facebook Marketplace. He dipped into his savings and wired $77,000 for a bulldozer he found. It was supposed to be coming from Texas, but when it was marked as delivered, it never showed up.
It was a kick.
Juliana O'Rourke with the Better Business Bureau tells 5 on Your Side that scammers often prey on people who need help and people who are trying to help in the aftermath of a disaster. Remember, do your vetting and avoid paying up front.
If you're going to make a down payment, make it on your credit card. So if something were to happen, you have some
financial backing and protection. Don't ever pay for a full project up front.
Jarvis can't say much about the scam. The FBI is investigating. Despite the financial constraints and dwindling donations, he is undeterred.
I would have never thought that I would go to work for 5 months for no charge. But now that I'm doing it, I don't know how I'll ever go back to charging.
You can find ways to help them on our website, WRAL.com. 5 on Your Side reached out to every county hit by Helene. And tonight on WRAL, Keely Arthur will share what they say they need most at this time.
Parts of that story are just so disturbing. This is the opposite. This week, some people in Western North Carolina got a surprise phone call from a familiar voice who would change their lives following Helene. And former UNC basketball coach Roy Williams is working with Verizon and debt relief company ForgiveCo, and they are giving $10 million to erase debt. That'll help about 6,500 people in Western North Carolina affected by Helene. Made phone calls to those people personally and told them their debt was wiped away. So a big deal right there, and good for them to do it. Amy Wilmoth over in the WRAL Severe Weather Center right now. As we look at it, heading towards the weekend here, the winter weather advisories issued this year, huh?
Yeah, talk about a difference compared to last year. We've had 3 winter storms so far this year. Last year we didn't have any. The year before that we didn't have any measurable snow. Last year we only had 1 winter weather advisory issued by our local National Weather Service office. This year we've had 7 so far. We've had multiple rounds of snow this year, which is different compared to the last couple of years. Now, on average, our annual snowfall is about 5.7 inches. Most of that comes during the month of January on average. This year was a little bit different. We didn't get any snow in December. We had 2.2 inches in January, but the most snow so far this year has been this month in February, 2.6 inches so far. That puts us at 4.8 inches so far for the year. It's yet to be seen what March holds for us. We'll have to wait and see. We don't have any snow in the forecast in the next several days, but where they do want the snow in the North Carolina mountains, this is a live look at the Beach Mountain Resort. Lots of people out there enjoying the snow. If you plan to head to the western part of our state to do some skiing over the weekend, temperatures will be above freezing in the afternoons. It'll be cold in the mornings both days, so they'll be able to make some more snow. Temperatures in the afternoon will range from 36 at Grandfather Mountain to maybe 50 in Bryson City, 49 in Asheville. That's for tomorrow. Looking ahead to Sunday's forecast, lots of sunshine. Temperatures will be in the 40s and 50s in the North Carolina mountains. Here at home, it is cold. It's 37 right now. We have a northwesterly breeze at 10 miles per hour, and that makes it feel even colder. It feels like 30 right now in Raleigh. It feels like 29 in Roxborough, 26 in Rocky Mount, 33 in Southern Pines. But with all the sun shining out there, it's really helping to melt the lingering snow and ice. There's still some out there, but the snow really helping to melt things today. Highs will stay in the low 40s, so it's a chilly day out there and a little breeze too, so it feels even colder. And then we'll get down into the teens tonight. So 19 tonight. It is going to be a very cold start to your Saturday, but look at Tuesday afternoon, 70 for the high temperature on Tuesday. So definitely feeling more like springtime as we head into next week. 64 on Monday, 70 Tuesday, and 65 on Wednesday. So we have some mild temperatures. If you're done with the cold and you're kind of over this, needing the winter coat, you'll enjoy next week. But 42 for today, still very chilly. There's still some snow, so I'm sure kids are out sledding, but it's not going to last into the weekend. We'll get down to 19 tonight. Very cold start to the day tomorrow. Still chilly tomorrow, 49. And then Sunday, it's a cold start, but look at the high, 57, which is right on track for normal. So we make some really good progress with the temperatures this weekend. And then 64 Monday, 70 on Tuesday. That's going to be a beautiful day to get outdoors, maybe have lunch outside. It's 65 for the high on Wednesday. And then Thursday, we have another front coming our way. It does bring some rain. Hopefully that will help to kind of wash away all the salt and the grime left on area roadways. But for the next several days, it's pretty quiet, and the big story will be the big warm up.
But obstacles are not meant to be feared. They're meant to be figured out.
Overcoming obstacles. A man who uses a wheelchair struggled to find stylish shoes, so he did something about it.
And after the break, how overcoming his struggle is now benefiting others with a similar issue. As we wrap things up, here's a look at a few of the headlines we're following today. A stabbing in a Fayetteville neighborhood has left a woman and 2 young people dead. All 3 people killed were found inside a home on Belle Arthur Lane this morning. Police say they have arrested a man. He is related to the people killed. Police say there were others inside of the home who saw that stabbing happen. The investigation continues.
A 17-year-old is in the hospital with life-threatening injuries from a shooting in Durham. Officers responded to Courtney Creek Boulevard yesterday afternoon. Police found shell casings at the scene. Someone had already driven the teen to the hospital earlier.
One person died in a house fire in Holly Springs overnight. It happened on Easton Street. Fire chief in Holly Springs says several people were inside the home when it happened. The others were able to get out of the house in time. Firefighters think that fire started in an addition on one side of the home. The house has significant damage. The exact cause is not known.
The Smithsonian plans to display 2 custom gowns worn by the first Native American nominated for Best Actress by the Academy Awards. Lily Gladstone was nominated for her role in Killers of the Flower Moon. She wore one gown to the Oscars ceremony, the other to the Vanity Fair Oscar party. Both were a collaboration between Gucci and Indigenous artist Joe Big Mountain. The installation, called Making a Statement, starts February 28th.
You've likely heard the saying, necessity is the mother of invention. Well, a Tennessee man is turning his struggle into a success. Aaron Warren lives with spinal muscular atrophy. He says the phrase means his muscles are extremely lazy, which requires him to use a wheelchair, and finding shoes that fit was a gamble. Warren says his frustration with finding fashionable footwear sparked an idea called Zipped Brands. The company adds zippers to open up the shoes, allowing people with disabilities to wear the styles they love without stress.
People reaching out saying, oh my gosh, my kid has never been able to wear shoes, can finally wear the same shoes as their peers, so they can finally fit in with the crowd. And let's see, that's all I ever wanted out of this.
That is pretty cool. In just 3 months' time, Warren's company, Zipped Brands, has helped more than 60 people with shoe sizes ranging from an 8 toddler and up.
Everyone deserves to wear some stylish
Yeah.
kicks. Our winter weather coverage forced us to nix our Pet of the Day segment for 2 days. We are making up for it with a bonded pair from the SPCA of Wake County. Meet 7-year-old Dottie and Spotter. They are looking for a new home after their owner died. Dottie and Spotter were born to the same litter, and they've been together their whole lives, so they are looking for a home together. They were raised to use potty pads in the house, so you could continue with that strategy or teach them to go outside. Their shared adoption fee is just $180. If you want more information, go to spcawake.org.
In the last week, the state put down more than 1.3 million gallons of brine on roads to prepare for winter weather. So where does it all go besides the car wash? WRAL's Liz McLaughlin has that answer today on our news at 4.
NBC News Daily is next on WRAL, your next local news update in 30 minutes.
You can get breaking news updates anytime with our WRAL News app. Have a great, safe weekend. Enjoy that sunshine.
Keep watching WRAL News over the air Channel 34 and Spectrum Channel 1257.